create a hierarchy of XML files in which at the root level our evo9 base XML file will just tell us what a fuel map consists of. It consists of air, fuel, load, and RPM. And specifically, once you get down to the specific ROM ID level, we know exactly where that map lives within this map. This is just a hexadecimal address within the ROM image file. So when we open up, if we had a different evo9 ROM image that was not 885.90015, we would still get this evo9 base parent, but we would get a different XML file that provides a different address for where the high octane fuel map actually lives in that other version. So that'll help you understand exactly how things are structured in EcuFlash. It's based on inheritance. It's based on XML files that can be edited directly, which we'll get to in the next video, or it can be edited graphically in the EcuFlash application. Hi, this is Recompile, and in this video we're going to go over some of the more specific details of how EcuFlash works when you're tuning your Evo. So in the last video we covered a lot of the basics of EcuFlash, how to read your ROM image, how to save it, what a map consists of, the various scalings that live within a map definition, and we covered the basics of inheritance in EcuFlash, in which your parent ROM XML definition gives you the basic structure of your ROM image, and then in your specific ROM ID's XML file we get the specific addresses of where all these tables are defined within your specific ROM version. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to browse out to my installation folder for EcuFlash. Yours will probably live in C/program files, OpenECU /EcuFlash. In here we'll have, in particular, the folder we're looking for is the Rom Metadata Folder. The Rom Metadata Folder basically contains the XML files that we were visually editing in the last video. We'll just jump right into Mitsubishi and Evo. So here we have a nice long list of all the possible ROM IDs that EcuFlash is aware of. It's possible that your ROM version is actually not listed here. If that's the case, you may have some trouble editing your ROM image in EcuFlash. You may have to try to find the definition file from someone else in order to be able to gain access to what's in your ROM. But hopefully yours is listed here and we can jump right in and take a look. It also includes all the parent base XML files, Evo9 base, Evo7 base, which actually also applies to the Evo8 ECUs, and so on. So let's first take a look at Evo9 base 2008-1101. This is one of the parents that was listed in our last video. We'll just open up with Notepad for now. So the XML file here defines the XML ID, basically the name of the file, and then a whole bunch of scalings. These are all the possible scalings that EcuFlash will know about when dealing with an Evo9 ROM. It contains all the formulas to do all of the conversions to make all of the binary data in the ROM image readable to you as a user. Scalings are typically defined at the top of the ROM image just for readability's sake. Below that we have the table definitions. So again, this is the same type of data that was listed visually, just now listed in XML. And whenever someone adds functionality or revises functionality, you're probably going to be pasting new information into an XML file. The information will consist of table definitions, describing the name of the table, what category it belongs in, basically what group to put it in when you're looking at an EcuFlash, a 3D table or a 2D table, and other possible settings. So including the scaling to use, and so on. Now you'll note that basically the same as we had in our last video, there is no address definition in this XML file. So this XML file is just setting us up for what a table looks like, but not necessarily where a table lives. That will be defined in the specific ROM ID version XML file, which we'll look at next. So if we go down to the bottom of this XML definition file, or almost to the bottom, you'll see that I've actually added some additional features. In particular, what I've added is some OBD2 inspection patches. This is a great patch. I think Akamas and Mr. Fred have worked on this, but basically it'll force all of the OBD2 inspection checks to return passed. So just so you can understand how this is accomplished, what they've done is they've gone out and they've found what the OBD2 inspection tables consist of and also where they live. And what we've put in this Evo 9 base XML file, something that all Evo 9 ROMs will have in common, is just the layout of these tables. So we have some 1D tables that just consist of a single value. We have some 2D tables that will consist of just a couple values, and we have some descriptive blobit tables, which basically a blobit is essentially a way to access individual bits within a specific byte in the ROM image file. All that means is the ROM may handle several different features in the same byte, and in order to be able to turn one feature on and not affect the other, or one feature off and not affect the other, we do that with blobits by allowing us to edit a single bit at a time. So this one byte of data contains 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. It contains 8 different bits to make up the byte that exists for this particular check. It consists of the EGR, the O2 sensor, and so on. So using a blobit scaling, we can get really specific and say, well, we want the heated catalyst check to return pass, but we don't care about the evap system, and so on. This is a more recent development in EcuFlash, and if you have an older version of EcuFlash, you may not have blobit support, but you definitely should update, because it's great to be able to go in and see what each bit represents in the ROM. I also have a heater patch, which basically just sets us up with a bunch of addresses. We have some other ECU periphery data. So all this stuff that I've added to the end, all you really need to worry about is that this is where you would add content if you're adding new table definitions into an XML file. So if someone says, oh, you don't have your MUT table represented on your EcuFlash, or if someone says, just go into your MUT table and change, MUT00 to this and so, well, you may not have a MUT table visible in your EcuFlash. And if it's not visible in EcuFlash, it's because it's not defined in these XML files. So what you'd have to do is find what exactly belongs here and paste it in. Once it's pasted in, you should have access to it in EcuFlash visually. You just make sure that you get everything in before the end ROM tag. So that's what our Evo 9 base looks like. We basically don't have any addresses, we just have structure. If we look at our 885.90015 XML, what we get here is, you'll notice it doesn't have any scalings, or has one scaling at the top specific to this XML file, but it doesn't have any other repeated scalings. There's no need to repeat information that's already included in the Evo 9 base XML. All we really need to specify here is what the table name is and what its address is. We don't necessarily need to specify any other